Oh yeah, my first year was 1996. I was an amateur, and I was with my friend Brooke Swindlehurst, and I helped him win the race.
And you know, I've seen you, Levi's very active Twitterer and really get a lot of great information. And you the other day called Brooke Swindlehurst Mr. Gila. Can you talk about why he earned that title? How he earned it, and a little about Burke, because I think he represents the soul of what this race is about.
Yeah, he's, it seems like from that year on, I've always kind of followed his results here. And he either wins the overall or the last stage, which is typically known as the Queen stage. So he's a good friend of mine. So I know that he always has risen to the occasion here in the Tour of the Gila. And so I kind of thought Mr. Gila was appropriate.
I think Redlands looked tough. It's going to be how much tougher to win Gila this year?
Hila's always an incredibly tough race. The terrain out here is some of the hardest that we've tackled this year in the US. And look at the caliber of the riders here. You know, we have Lance and Levi here this week, and Zabriskie and Danielson, and it's going to be a really hotly contested race. And we as a team, Flyby Australia, just want to come back and be successful again. And we'll find, you know, what we need to do that, whether it's with me or with Phil or with any one of our riders. We're all riding really strongly, and we're here together to get some results. So.
Do you get that feeling in the peloton? There's guys who say, man, this is just cool, getting to race with you, Levi, getting to race with Lance. You know, a lot of these guys have been racing for 10 years, never had that chance. Do they express that to you?
Yeah, actually, I've run into that a lot, which is really gratifying. You know, it's humbling when guys come up and say, you know, it's an honor to race with you. And, you know, I obviously never think of myself like that, but I know that there was a time when I looked up to someone, you know, who was in the Tour de France and that level of racing. So I can understand it. And, just it's a great feeling.
For women's cyclists, how does that work? Where does the motivation come to go to the highest level? Is there an Eddie Merckx of women's cycling?
Well, I feel fortunate to be working with Karen Brems, who's won the World Championships in time trials. And you know, recently Kristen Armstrong retired from the sport, and she definitely has set the bar very high for women's cycling, winning 2 World Championships and Olympic gold. You know, women's cycling really has some great support from the grassroots up, and it's, for me, racing with the top women inspires me.
Was it the greatest day of your life, Phil, professionally, that is?
In the cycling world, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and those kind of moments, I mean, do you have an out-of-body experience right afterwards? Talk about finishing that day on the Gila Monster.
The whole day I was just, yeah, I mean, some days things really just come together normally in some training. And luckily it was, you know, at a big race against, you know, 2 of 3, you know, with Horner, Levi, and Lance. You know, 3 guys I really look up to. So to be able to race against them at a race that I was feeling great at was pretty amazing. So I had my wife in the SRAM follow car, and my parents were at the finish line, so to be able to win that day was, yeah, it was huge.
You know the hardest race on the women's calendar to win?
Well, I've never won it.
So must be.
So I think this year is really unique because it's part of the Women's Prestige Series, and I don't know that it ever has been before. And so because of that, this might be the strongest women's field here at the Tour of the Gila that's ever been.
Sure.
And so I think this year will be quite hard to win, but I think that's why we're all here.
Gila, step up for you. Is this one of the hardest races you do all year?
For sure. I think you can see by the riders that are here, the teams, what teams have come, especially the Pro Tour guys that have turned up in preparation for the Tour of California. Obviously, shows that what we're doing as well is we're going the right direction to get us ready for that race as well. You know, I think the size that the race has got to this year, you just have to look at how many people are in this room right now. You know, if we tried this at any other race, there'd be one person sitting in the corner probably.
Sure.
But it's definitely one of the hardest races in the calendar in the US. There's not too many with big climbs and such a big field as well. So it's a great way for the younger guys, for us, you know, the guys that are, you know, Ben and Phil and myself and the others who are generally at the top of the group can actually test ourselves against some of the best riders in the world. So, you know, if you're turning up to something like this, you kind of got to be prepared for it.
That's a good question. We have to sort of just do our best, really. We have to be willing to lose because, there's full squads here from Levi, UnitedHealthcare, the list goes on, and they definitely are looking to take us down, so it's difficult, but we're here for the training more than anything.
Are you happy there's another three Pro Tour riders to take on that general responsibility?
Yeah, I think that in reality, we could become allies, because if we all teams miss the break, for example, that doubles the size of what we had last year.
Right, true.
It's not fair though, is it?
Yes, no.
So, collusion, I mean, if like I said, if there's 10 guys up the road and there's no These Nuts and there's no Mellow Johnnies, then you might see a mixture of those two teams playing.
Just hang on, and that sprint was just timing, because Levi was leading that Lance, and I think I just got the jump on him before Lance could go. I went, so just timed it right.
I'd like to hear a little more about that stage, like how it progressed and where you were. And I know Horner was being aggressive, and
Yeah, I mean, it split on the climb out of the cliff going, and Horner was right in that pretty fierce pace. And then the final climb of the Pinos Altos, Chad Byron was off for a while, brought him back. Burke had a couple good attacks, but ended up being just Lance, Levi, and myself in that final 10K, really. And Levi was just riding like a motorcycle, like he does.
was Horner coming back at that point? Was he kept
He was yo-yoing a little bit, but...
and were you getting frustrated when he would come back? Would it disrupt things, or were you okay with that?
No, he would come back and go straight to the front and continue driving it. And but in the end, it was just three of us. And Levi was leading out Lance that. So,
I think Fielder deserved that stage win because he rode smart, he was strong enough, and he found that sliver of that opening that was there to win, and he took advantage of that. So.
I had Hank screaming in my ear